G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/AmITheA A-hole. Now if you love this one like I love you, be sure to smash that like button and tell me what you think about it. Who is the a-hole in this situation? Anyway guys, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Posted by user AmITheA Throwaway 5151. Titled, Am I the a-hole for evicting an old woman over a cat? Hey AITA, I'm a pretty successful landlord in my area. I've been renting out properties for about 20 years, and it's let me purchase a pretty nice home and pay for private school tuition for my kids. However, every once in a while, I get some real problem tenants. Anyways, here's the story. My properties have an unconditional no pets rule. I don't care to take care of the messes or damage that results from having pets. More importantly, many of the tenants bring in pets that are illegal. My city has a pit bull ban and of course bans on exotic pets. And I find that it's just simpler to ban all pets than to let people weasel out with bullcrap like, oh, it's a Great Dane Labrador mix and she's the sweetest thing. I also don't allow cats because I'm allergic. And to Mary, obviously not a real name, Mary is an 86-year-old woman who lives in one of my properties. Shortly after she moved in, I went over to check on her property, make sure she was moved in well, and everything. She now had a cat. Obviously this was in violation of the contract, so I told her that she had to get rid of it. I figured that this was said and done. I'd come back and the cat would be gone, and it was a young cat, so I didn't imagine there would be any separation anxiety or anything. Anyways, a few weeks ago, I went back to the apartment and noticed the cat was still there. This frustrated me. It's my property, I made the rules clear, and here still was the cat. I told her that she was being evicted and formally served her later that day. A few days after I served her, the COVID crisis really began in earnest. My lawyer assured me that I would be legally clear, having started proceedings before the crisis, but my poker buddies tell me I'm a dick for kicking her out. She doesn't have much family or anything, but the way I see it, I was just enforcing my rules. So, am I the a-hole? Thanks to whoever decided to harass me through the Reddit gold. If you are actively trying to make this elderly woman move during a pandemic, you're the a-hole. In fact, you're one of the worst a-holes in recent history. Not to mention that eviction after one notice is way harsh. You should, as a landlord, have a system in place to fine a tenant for breaking a rule prior to eviction proceedings. You're a total a-hole. For eviction, tenants generally only need a 30-day notice. How many notices do you think OP should give then? At least more than a verbal notice. One written warning and a final written notice seem closer to reasonable than one verbal notice and then eviction. Also, to evict during a pandemic? Aren't renters protected from that right now? Edit, I overlooked where he said he started the process pre-pandemic. But damn, rethink priorities. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. Holy crap. This is why no one likes landlords. Imagine being this much of an a-hole to an old woman in a pandemic. You're not living in the property, you're actually going to kill her if you make her homeless in a pandemic that is specifically dangerous to older folk. You'll have blood on your hands. You're the a-hole. I get enforcing a rule, but I guess having a shred of humanity might have made this a different situation. Good for you that you won't have any legal recourse, because obviously that's more important than being decent. Congratulations. Everyone sucks here. She signed knowing the rules, you gave her a chance to get rid of it. She chose not to. Being old doesn't make you immune to the rules. It does put you at risk for COVID though. I would give her one more chance to get rid of it to avoid eviction, if at all legally permissible. Charge her a fee, let her stay on the sole condition that the cat goes. He already tried that though, told her the cat had to go. Next time he was there, the cat was still there. Not the a-hole. This goes against my every instinct since I love cats, and I don't like imagining a defenseless old lady being homeless, but if you were to care about every tenant who can't pay their rent, or don't follow the rules, and who wouldn't have where to go, you'd end up broke in no time. It sucks for you. You are the bad guy in everybody's story. I'm surprised this is the first time you're asking yourself these questions. Well, since this situation touched you, you could go the extra mile and offer her assistance in finding a more suitable place to live. I don't know, I do think that he's the a-hole in this situation. It's a very clear-cut case the pandemic is out here to get them. Why? Why put them on the street? I know that they've screwed up, but come on. This can be an exception, can it not? Posted by user Druda titled, Am I the a-hole for not sharing my medical history before being pranked? Heyo, I'm schizophrenic, started when I was 22, and will last till I die. I'm active in schizophrenic communities, go to groups, the works, but I am fairly private about it to most people, to include friends. It's fairly common for people to think I'm eccentric. It comes with the turf, due to some of my habits. Those habits include not going to parties or other places with lots of people, suddenly deciding not to do something. I have to be protective, so as not to do or go to certain things if I think a delusion might be coming on, saying the occasional odd quip, normal schizophrenic stuff. Some friends thought it would be funny to make it seem like I might be going crazy as a group. They would individually wear something silly like a wizard hat or a dinosaur costume, the T-Rex blow-up costume, to a group event, or say something totally out of the ordinary and pretend like it was normal. Police like to track people like you. COVID is just a way to microchip you, etc. These are very real scary thoughts to me. I would ask members of the group if they had heard concerns about these conspiracies or weird garb to the other members, but they all acted like they had hung out with that particular member that day, and I hadn't been involved. I was really, really scared that this could have been a massive delusion morphing into a full psychosis, so I preemptively checked myself into a hospital to stop myself from potentially hurting myself or diving further into the rabbit hole, common in schizophrenic community. I was so scared my medication stopped working. No one heard from me for a few days while I was in the hospital, and when I checked out, I confided in one of them what had happened. I got a really long apology explaining what had happened, and I blew up at them. I have ignored attempts from the others trying to apologize and have no desire to talk with them again. Am I the a-hole for not previously stating that I'm schizophrenic? Edits. People have been asking, saying to post the length of the prank. It was around 3 weeks. Edit 2. Thanks for the awards and stuff, but I really want to highlight some of the messages I've gotten. I'm at around 150 messages and counting, and am trying to respond to the ones where I can, and hopefully offer insight. Resources that I find helpful r/schizophrenia. For groups, just Google schizophrenia support groups in my area. Something will pop up, and when you actually get there, someone will have a further list. And here's the rest of the information on screen. You can pause if you'd like, but it's really good. I'm going to continue with the episode though. Not the a-hole. Even if you didn't disclose your medical history, they knew enough that saying those things would screw with you. If a prank doesn't leave both parties laughing, it isn't a prank. It's bullying. A prank is leaving plastic flamingos on a friend's lawn or something harmless like that. That wasn't a prank. When it comes to pranks, confuse, don't abuse. One of my friends would prank the other by putting a bunch of sporks in her yard when they knew she wasn't home. It was hilarious. She included candy canes for Christmas, flamingos during summer, and eggs during Easter. It went on for a year before my friend came clean and admitted that she was the sporker. That's a good one, I like that. Not the a-hole. Schizophrenia or not, this wasn't a harmless prank. This was disrespectful and manipulative bullcrap that good friends don't pull on each other. This is the part that really upsets me too. For OP, this prank meant questioning his sanity, thinking that he was expecting early warning signs, his meds weren't working, and he went into the hospital for help. For those without a diagnosis, they would have questioned their sanity, thought they were experiencing psychosis, and potentially ended up on medications or in hospital, questioning their reality and seeking help. There is no humor in this, regardless of a person's history. This to me is pure abuse and bullying. Posted by user Novel Promise, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter she is not receiving any inheritance when I pass away after she asked what inheritance she would be getting? Throwaway because I know my daughter uses social media, but I don't know which social media platform she uses, plus I am not going to post on my main account. I have 2 kids, a 30-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son. I remarried with my new wife after my old one cheated with me 2 times. My new wife is my daughter's stepmom, and my son is the biochild of my daughter's stepmom. Me and my wife have been married for 25 years. My daughter was just 5 years old when we split. Me and my wife have a great relationship. No one cheated, we both checked each other's phones and computers, as no one ever needed to hide anything. Me and my wife had a great deal of trust, so I plan to give all the property to my wife when I pass away. My daughter, however, asked today morning what inheritance she's getting, as I'm getting pretty old. I told her none. My daughter yelled at me and then asked me what her brother is getting. I told her he's not getting anything and that my wife is getting all the inheritance. At this point, my daughter started screaming at me, saying she would love the house me and my wife lived in, and said if I gave it all to my wife, she won't be getting anything. I told her not my fault that she might not get anything because she treated my wife garbage, even all the way to adulthood. My daughter told me I was a piece of crap father and I was a garbage person. So am I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here. It's pretty normal to leave your property to your spouse, but they then leave it to the children when they die. But setting it up so she gets nothing in order to punish her for not loving your new wife is vindictive, and it's going to cause long-term resentment and division in your family. I submit that the resentment train has already left the station. Are you saying that he's required to leave the daughter money no matter what? Even if not legally required, if he doesn't, assuming the daughter and wife didn't get on famously, that would make him an a-hole. I feel like I'm one of the few folks who don't expect crap from my parents when they pass. I'm in that boat. It's their money, not mine. My dad is twice divorced, both with very expensive alimony orders, and has a new girlfriend he has spent a ton on. Doesn't bother me, not my money. And if he somehow dies with money left over, I would actually be surprised if he gave it to me. I guess I would say I don't think one is an a-hole for not leaving money to their kids by default. Everyone sucks here. You can do whatever you want with your money. That doesn't mean that with that freedom doesn't come responsibilities or consequences. I have a hard time conceiving why you wouldn't want to let your daughter and son have at least some of the money to make their lives a little more financially secure and comfortable. Your children should come before your wife, particularly since you both apparently seem to be of an age where you are set for life. She sucks for asking about her inheritance. It's not a very classy thing to ask, and she's acting entitled to the money which she really isn't. I'm refraining from judging her on her actions towards your new wife because I don't have the full history, and I don't know if it could have been justified. Either way, it sounds vindictive, and that makes you in the wrong here as well. A lot of people are saying not the a-hole are very it's your money, but it being legally and possible to cut her out doesn't make him not an a-hole. I agree here, they all suck. Just because OP can legally be spiteful to his daughter doesn't make him not the a-hole for doing it. This sub skews young, so they tend to see it in black and white, so they default to, well, legally, when that has nothing to do with whether or not you're an a-hole for doing something. Plenty of things are legal, but would make you an a-hole to do them. Everyone sucks here, but your daughter is behaving like a spoiled brat, but I am wondering why you would not let your biological children inherit. I believe that as a parent, you want to leave something to your children after you're gone, right? To take care of them. Feels to me like you're abandoning your own kids. I'm wondering where the daughter's behavior is coming from. Her actions seem like a reaction to something the stepmother did, but we aren't getting the whole story here. Well, yeah, I think we aren't getting the whole story here. I think there's a lot of parts that are missing out. I feel like there is a lot of bias with the OP that's writing this one. I think I'd need more information to make a judgment, but I'm going to go with he's the a-hole for not leaving anything. What the hell, at least leave like a bike or something. Posted by user Friend's Spare Key, titled, Am I the a-hole for taking away my friend's spare key after she went into my house without permission? So, my best friend and I swapped keys to our houses in case of emergency. We can get into each other's houses. We've never had to use them, except for once she forgot her keys at home, and I let her in. Anyway, over the weekend, my boyfriend went to visit his mother, and I went grocery shopping, for the first time in like 4 weeks. So, the house was empty. My boyfriend and I have some BDSM stuff in the bedroom that we didn't put away because we were lazy and didn't think anyone would see, since no one was coming over. Not super insane, just a pair of handcuffs and a rope. Anyways, when I get home, my friend was just in my house, sitting in the dining room. No warning, she didn't tell me. I was completely blindsided. I asked her why she was in my house, and she said that she had lost a necklace the last time she was here and waited until I was gone as to socially distance. But then, if entering my house without permission wasn't enough, she started lecturing me on the BDSM stuff and how it's degrading, and that I shouldn't let my boyfriend do that to me. We've never really agreed on kinky sex in the past when we've talked about it, so we had agreed just not to bring it up. But also, I'm not the one having stuff done to me, my boyfriend is the sub. I of course couldn't tell her this, because I didn't want to embarrass my boyfriend. I was super ticked, and I took her key and told her not to bother contacting me unless it was to apologize for violating my privacy. She says it wasn't fair to take my key back, but I just pushed her out of the door and didn't listen because I was so mad. She's been texting me how she didn't mean it as a violation of privacy and was just getting her necklace and happened to see but was worried for me. I talked to one of my other friends about it, and she said that I should just let it go and move on, and that while I'm in the right, I'm being uptight about it. I don't think this is just a let it go and move on type of thing. Am I overreacting here? Am I the a-hole? I think, yeah, from the get-go, they're not the a-hole for thinking that it's like a huge invasion of privacy, but forgiveness has to be given in a friendship. But at the same time, those are one of the things you just don't really judge people on. That's their life, man. Come on. Not the a-hole. Very suspicious behavior, but how did she know you had gone in the first place? If she wanted to social distance, why was she waiting there when you got back? The whole thing is super weird. Glad you got your key back. I would consider changing the locks too. She was sitting at the dining room table because she was snooping, heard her friend come home, and ran to sit down like she was just waiting for her. You say snooping, I say casing. But yeah, she was definitely going through OP's crap and ran to the kitchen when she heard OP get home. Not the a-hole, change your locks to OP. She may have a copy. Not the a-hole, entering your home without warning, going in your room without permission, lecturing you about your sexual life. You are completely within your right to take away the keys and pushing her out of the door. Not to forget she broke social distancing rules. I just want to know, why does she so badly need that necklace? If she doesn't sincerely apologize, then I would consider the friendship over. Well, also not to mention it would simply take a text saying, "Hey, I think I forgot my necklace at your house, can I swing by and check?" Posted by user Wedding Drama Throw 22, titled, "Am I the a-hole for going ahead with my original wedding date, which was the same as my half-sister's? My older half-sister has always had an issue with me and my brother. She always felt that our dad treated us better than her, when in actuality, my dad was constantly putting her over everyone else because she would always throw ridiculous tantrums. She also treated me and my brother poorly and always made our dad choose between us. And 9 times out of 10, he would do as she said just to avoid the drama. Last April, my now husband and I told everyone informally to save the date because we managed to snag a venue in October. While we were still designing our wedding invitations, my older sister sent out wedding invites for her own wedding on the exact day as ours. To this day, she claims it was all a coincidence, but I know for a fact that our dad told her my chosen date before she confirmed hers. I also know she booked her venue after we did. Moving our wedding would have meant losing our deposit, but I was furious more about her intent than the cost. So I stood firm and said I wasn't changing the date. I was sick of her constantly running our lives. This put our dad through a lot of crap, and many people were buying her story that I purposefully picked the date after she did. Since she sent out the invites first, her story seemed more believable. My dad said he'd pay for the lost deposit if I moved the wedding, which just ticked me off more, and I was definitely not changing it at that point. The one thing I compromised on was having my wedding in the afternoon, while hers was in the evening. So despite all the drama, which resulted in permanently blocking my sister from my phone, both our weddings happened on the same day. Mine went off without a hitch, and it was beautiful, but a large number of Dad's side of the family got stuck in traffic, rushing to hers. They missed the actual ceremony, and my dad wasn't able to walk her down the aisle. I watched her scream at our father until he was in tears. She made our grandparents pay for half of her wedding after the fact as an apology for being late. She made my father pay the down payment for her new home as another apology. But even now, she has not let it go. She still says her wedding was ruined, and she uses it to guilt our father into trying to make it up to her. My dad's toxic relationship with her is not my concern anymore, but the amount of fallout from not compromising on my end was pretty shocking to me. Was I the a-hole? The only person who seems to be winning here is your sister. Hugely discounted wedding, a partial house. You're not an actual A here, but after years of her bad behavior, you, your dad's family are the only ones suffering. Everyone sucks here would, I guess, be the judgment. Just because you were right doesn't mean you always should. Your sister sounds like nightmare. Condolences. I've accepted at this point that she will always get more financial help than my brother and I. It doesn't bother me anymore. Everyone feels so guilty that she had to grow up in 2 very nice homes that they've raised a monster. I honestly don't care about what she does anymore and would like to focus on my own life, which I'm very happy with. I feel sad that our dad is basically being abused, but I can't help him if he doesn't want it. The best revenge is living well. Someone like her is never going to be happy. I'm sorry you were put in such a crappy situation. Enjoy your awesome life. Not the a-hole. If you sent out the dates while finalizing your invites, why are people believing she had the date first? I'm sorry your dad's family is being abused by her, but honestly, that's not your problem. Your dad raised a little brat monster who grew up into a spoiled, entitled bridezilla. I emailed 80% of my guests with an email save the date. She had paper invites out before me, and she lied and said she had booked it first. She's a trash human being. Why are people believing she picked the date first? Because she's a professional liar. I have a screenshot showing my dad told her about my wedding date before she booked her venue. I show this to anyone who questions me. But she has everyone on her mother's side against me. Luckily, I don't care about them. She sounds toxic as hell. Definitely go no contact. She is not worth it. Did your dad apologize to you for causing this situation, or leaving your wedding for hers? Everyone left my wedding when I expected them to. There was an accident that caused them to be stuck in traffic. I have mixed feelings about our dad. I know my half-sister's mum was a really toxic person who imparted a lot of that personality to my sister, and my dad was stuck trying to make sure he could still see my sister. But he did this at the expense of my brother and myself. He has apologized for my sister's actions, but when she feels no remorse, it means nothing. Jesus. Not the a-hole. She deserved a ruined day if this is how she acts. I can't believe your family gives in to her bullying. Everyone sucks here. While I think she's clearly terrible, it seems like the main reason you didn't want to move was because of the relationship between the two of you, regardless of how much harder it made things for everyone else. Yes, it sucks that you both were trying to get married on the same day, and that she knew beforehand is beyond inexcusable, and definitely would be a reason to cut her out of your life. But by going ahead anyway, I feel like you did a huge disservice to your guests by playing her dumb game. Everyone sucks here. Her attitude and rage toward her father and family is horrible, but I can't care less about who got there first. Your father offered a solution to pay your deposit and move your date. Neither of you were willing to compromise. Your childish squabble escalated to a miserable day for everyone involved. Your family, your guests, and I'm sure the service people despised both of you. A wedding day is supposed to be joyful for everyone involved. That day was a dumpster fire, and everyone knew it was coming. Posted by user MFCookies, titled, "Am I the a-hole for yelling at my husband for eating the wrong cookies?" This is some petty-ass nonsense. I, 37 female, made some fancy cookies for a friend's birthday this past week. The amount of planning that went into these cookies was silly, to be honest. Slowly but surely, I collected the ingredients I needed through some annoying-ass grocery and Amazon orders, and miraculously, had everything I needed to make these cookies on time for my BFF's birthday. Baking them was also a hassle. I had to bake them in small batches in order to correct the dough until I got the perfect cookie. So I'm running back and forth to the kitchen for hours, while also taking care of my 10-month-old son. I made extra cookies because my hubby has a sweet tooth. Hubby, 38 male, comes home from work and is super excited that I made cookies. I tell him how hard I've been working on these tricky-ass cookies, and tell him very specifically that there are 6 cookies that he must not eat that are perfect in size and shape and decoration and will be given to my BFF. I tell him this twice, because I can't stand the thought of having to deal with more cookie decorating. I even separated the off-limit cookies from the rest, so it's obvious which ones are not meant for him. He nods in acknowledgement. That evening, he's back and forth, in and out of the kitchen eating cookies, getting chocolate on the frickin' sofa as he eats them. At some point, I check on the perfect 6 gift cookies to see if the decorations have set out, and what's this? One of the 6 quarantined cookies is missing. I ask hubby why he ate one of the special cookies, and he just laughed. Oh honey, the other cookies were too big and I just wanted one last small cookie. I was only a little mad at first, but kind of shocked. I told him, I can't believe you just did that when I told you not to twice. What the hell, dude? His reaction, it's not a big deal, sweetie. Are you really going to get upset over a cookie? There are so many cookies left. Just use one of the others, or give her 5 instead of 6. At that point, I got a little more angry. I told him that I wanted an apology and that he was being inconsiderate. He rolled his eyes at me and apologized sarcastically and muttered that he would sleep on the couch tonight because we're arguing about cookies now. He said I was being immature for arguing with him about cookies. He gives me the silent treatment for the rest of the night and slept on the chocolate-stained sofa. Now I'm fudging ticked and confused. Am I an a-hole because I made a big deal out of this stupid cookie situation? Wow. At first I was going to say you're the a-hole from the title, but after reading that you specifically asked him not to, and he did it anyway and then dismissed your concerns, knowing full well he was eating a gift, your husband is a gigantic flaming ball of a-hole. It's not petty that you're ticked. He completely disregarded your work, your effort, and a gift for someone else. That's just wrong. Not the a-hole. It's not about the cookies, it's about the complete disregard for other people in favor of his selfish gluttony. Agreed. Also, baking is an exact science, and I can attest that it can take, like OP said, hours to perfect a recipe. Just to remake that one cookie could take just as long to figure it out, because as you add more ingredients, it becomes harder to keep track of all the measurements. So OP would likely have to go through the entire process again, not the a-hole, and the husband is a total dick. Months, in some cases. I made over 120 versions of biscuits, recreating my great-grandmother's recipe, flavor, and texture. I made 40 plus versions of the waffle batter, getting it just so. Other things too. It's a love affair, and when someone craps on it, it feels terrible. Not the a-hole. Honestly, this is not that petty. Your husband specifically and intentionally disrespected your hard work, then belittled you when you got frustrated. I have a hard time reading this and not imagining that he doesn't have a long history of being a huge a-hole and a crappy partner. Yes, it's not about the cookie, it's about you asking him something specific and him not respecting you enough to comply. It's especially worse considering you had already accommodated him with his own set of cookies. Why couldn't he break one of the bigger cookies in half? It's also about how absolutely condescending and disrespectful he was to OP when she called him on his behavior after the fact. He made a power move, and then he started gaslighting her about her reaction to it, trying to make her feel like her reaction was crazy, unwarranted, it's only cookies, like nobody sane would get upset over cookies, like he was the victim here. I forgive a lot of things. I am not a person who demands perfection at all times for my loved ones, but if anybody treated me like OP's husband treated her in this post, I would cut them out of my life. I spent my first 22 years being treated like my feelings don't matter, and I won't voluntarily spend any more time with people like that. I feel so bad for OP being married to this dude. OP, you need to make him understand why what he did was cruel. Couples counseling if you have to. Well, Markee believes that what was said is said. I don't have an opinion outside of this. This is absolutely the way to go. Like, that was a dick move. You don't do that to someone and then get up them when you're the one in the wrong. That's just incredibly dickish, and that's the wrong way to go about this. Happy wife, happy life. Don't smack her down when she's proud of her creation. Anyway, guys, I'm going to hand you off to outro markers now. Alright guys, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to tell me what you thought about it down in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel also, don't forget to subscribe. It would really help out with my channel growth. And also, a huge shout out to my channel patrons and members. I just love you guys and thank you for supporting me on this journey. If you guys are new to the channel and you'd like to support me, links are down below for the Patreon, or you can click the join button next to subscribe if you'd like to become a channel member. Alright guys, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.